I don't think the growing delegitimation attacks against Israel are unrelated to the crisis of the West, and more particularly the crisis of confidence that emanates from the White House today. When the strongholds is not perceived to be strong anymore, people tend to act in ways unbelievable days before. Our weakness, perceived real, is the strength of our enemies. We can complain, but accept our decline doing nothing, as many seems to prefer. Or we can counteract, defend ourselves, and strengthen our values. I have chosen the second option because I believe in the West, what we have been, what we are, and what we can be. And here is where Israel enters the equation. If the major strategic challengers are a potential nuclear Iran on the one hand and jihadism on the other hand, Israel is vital for us, for our nations, for our societies, and for our way of life. Israel is not only an integral part of the West, for all kinds of reasons I don't need to elaborate here. Israel is today essential for us, even more now than before. And not only because you are in the region where the strategic tectonic plates collide, but because you are one of the few nations willing to pay a price for your survival. A nation that will do whatever it takes to defend itself. A nation where our core democratic values are so ingrained that defending the state of Israel is the same as defending our liberal system. Particularly in a moment when the historic leaders of the West, US, are going through a time of introspection, exhaustion, and why not confusion. If US keep fading away as a force for good in the world, Israel will be forced to play a growing role in the region, and possibly beyond the region. Defending Israel is ultimately defending the Western roots, the Western values that many in Europe and some in America seem to have forgotten. They are not obsolete, and the best proof is precisely Israel and its people. Letting the delegitimation of Israel grow seems to me the best path to weaken not only the freedom of maneuver of Israel, but to undermine ourselves in front of our adversaries, which are the same. That is why a few months ago I embarked some personal friends in a new project called Friends of Israel Initiative. Even if when we first met, the Israeli soldiers were intercepting the flotilla heading to Gaza, and we were caught by the public uproar against Israel. We all believed that it was necessary that somebody should stand up and say, enough is enough. That over-emotive an offer, enough is enough. that over-emotive and often irrational modes of discourse about Israel are simply non-acceptable, that they should be replaced with reason and decency. We come from different continents and from a variety of personal experiences. And the key element, I believe, is that we are non-Israelis and mainly non-Jews. We are, simply put, concerned citizens, concerned Democrats. Why would these people feel inclined to defend Israel knowing that we will automatically be stigmatized as Zionists, Zionist agents, as neoconservative conspirators, or something worse? Why? And the answer is very simple. Because we live in a world where it is indispensable to defend our moral values, defend our identity, and defend the faith in our democracy to build a better and more safer world. We are used to seeing on TV, and sometimes in close quarters, the imperatives and consequences of, let me call it, hard battles.